Some of you had been asking to see the Swords of Chaos, and they are in our updated build. Here they are backing up Archaon. They look like the champions. They've got helmets now, which I think is much better. I never liked their burned, Joshua Graham faces. But anyway, facing off against Heir of Carthage's Ogre Kingdom's Warriors of Chaos here. We've got Archaon leading the way, Swords of Chaos to back him up, some Marauders in the front line, Spawn of Khorne and Spawn of Slaanesh for two of the marks. Also got the Demon Spew Regiment of Renown Forsaken of Nurgle as one of my other marks. And the third mark is, of course, the best looking unit in the game right now, in my opinion. Well, definitely one of them. The Doom Knights. Yes, that's right. These guys are available for Warriors of Chaos, at least in multiplayer, in custom battle. They're going to be helping to lead the charge here for my opponent. Heir of Carthage coming in brave with a Tyrant. He's got a Butcher of the Great Maw. Noblars up front, second line of some Bulls with dual weapons. Man-Eaters with great weapons on the flanks, so that's great. Elite anti-large AP. Should be fantastic. Some Saber Tusk packs in the back and the Iron Blaster in the center as well, but we're missing already. We've got a duel of characters. The Tyrant. Look at that. Archaon's literally as tall as an Ogre. Swords of Chaos charging in here. They are absolutely massive now, equaling in size Archaon. They are as tall as the Ogres themselves. Look at them fighting these Noblars like barely, not even coming up to the horse's knees. Very, very good stuff. Just going to be a mass charge, two melee factions going at it, so there's not really a lot of tactics to it. My Heir of Carthage is trying to turn my flank here with these Saber Tusk packs, but they kind of get caught up on the Demon Spew there. I'm going to see this opportunity and just countercharge back in with all of the Marauder Horsemen. Along with the Demon Spew, should be able to win that engagement. Flaming Sword of Ruin here, just to give a little bit of a damage. Spike, especially like the Spawn of Slaanesh, who don't already have flaming attacks. A lot of these units do, like the Knights of Immolation. They're going to swoop, slither on in here. They've been taking some damage from the Man-Eaters, kind of bait them into this big central brawl, but definitely don't want them to take too much damage, and unfortunately a couple of their unit models kind of get caught up here. They're unable to extricate themselves. I mean, they are, after all, a squishy flying, I say squishy, a light mass flying cavalry, not necessarily squishy by any means, but yeah, should be able to hopefully get back up in the air. Regardless, Spawn will continue to fight over here. That mobile engagement for us managed to beat back those Saber Tusk packs while also taking some damage on my horsemen. The Iron Blaster being online is definitely a problem, but I don't have necessarily the resources to shut it down. I'm trying to get the Doom Knights up in the air so that I can use them to get after it, but right now I'm not allowed to do so just because a few of them are still pinned on the ground. A nice dismember from Heir of Carthage there to debuff the speed of all of these units as the cavalry try and pull away these Swords of Chaos and Archaon. They're going to get caught up by these Man-Eaters, and the Man-Eaters' great weapons definitely have the offensive power, no question, to tangle with the Swords of Chaos. But eventually, once that dismember wears off, I'm going to pull away. A little bit of a Spirit Leech there from Archaon. Also triggers Kindle Flames, so of course Swords of Chaos and now Archaon himself all dealing flaming damage. Knights of Immolation as well. Man, look at how, I guess the actual dudes probably about the same size. Maybe the Swords of Chaos, yeah, they're a bit bigger, definitely a bit bigger than the Knights of Immolation here, but especially on the mounts, they are just insanely different size. It's actually kind of hilarious, but definitely cool to see the Knights of Immolation kind of alongside both of these elite Regiment of Renown, kind of cream of the crop, Chaos Knights, flaming damage. Great synergy with Archaon both, and act in a little bit of a different role, sort of the mobile hammer and anvil, if you will. Either of them can act in either role, honestly, as both of them have reasonably decent melee defense. But anyway, let's try and avoid the blinding snow for the time being. Demon Spew get routed off here by those Man-Eaters, and Tyrant managed to stay alive. He does have that sweet self-healing. That's the Butcher, but the Tyrant is here as well from the snacks, and that will give him sustainability in melee. Trying to just play off the Marauder Horsemen for the time being. Pretty much, all of my infantry is done for, and I'm going to just have to be carried by Archaon and his retinue of most inglorious knights. Paragons of the Dark Powers. And as we cut through the blinding snow here, I apologize. Might try and take the brightness down in post just a little bit. Finally, I'm able to get my Doom Knights back onto the Iron Blaster and try and finish this thing off, but nice little screen there from Air of Carthage through the Saber Tusks. Have enough mass to keep my Doom Knights pinned back, but a successive damage. I mean, the Marauder Horsemen throwing their javelins and then charging here, getting the Marauder Infantry in here as well, just doing as much as I can to try to just deal with these Man-Eaters. Maul's going to come in here, does some pretty good non-AP damage, not that much to the Swords of Chaos, though. They're able to resist that damage fairly well, and just keep the pressure up on these Man-Eaters as much as possible. Trying to keep the camera angle in such a way that you won't get blinded by the snow. So take an overall broad look at the battlefield here. We've got more Bulls coming back in. Got my Demon Spew coming back in. Some more Marauders as well. So the Archaon, he's still holding. At this point, though, balance power slightly against me. I'm a little bit worried. I'm not worried about the characters so much. As long as I can deal with the Man-Eaters, I think Archaon should be able to carry this. It's the combination of the Man-Eaters and the Tyrant together. If Archaon has to fight them all at once, it's going to be a rough engagement for him. I'm throwing all my resources at this point, just trying to break as many units as I can. The Iron Blaster, obviously, a priority as well, as I kind of cycle Archaon and the Swords of Chaos over to the blinding snow. We'll get up close to Cinematic Cam as they start to deal with these Bulls, and then get back up into the sky so that we're not getting blinded. But Archaon just needs a couple of attacks into the Iron Blaster to finish off its leadership. Swords of Chaos get their leadership finished off, though, as will the Knights of Immolation very soon. Man-Eaters also Spirit Leech on them. Again, just throwing all my resources at them. Got the Demon Spew in combat. Got the Marauders in combat. The low armor of Man-Eaters comes back to haunt them in a situation like this, where they will actually take a little bit of damage from the Demon Spew and from the Marauders and whatnot. So Archaon's Crown of Domination giving him terror is definitely a huge factor as well against the low leadership of the Ogres. Of course, the Man-Eaters have immune to psychology, but the characters do not. And Greasus does, but you should just never take Greasus ever. But Archaon, I mean, can he carry? Balance power still not looking great. Swords of Chaos come in once more as the Knights of Immolation have kind of formed up a circle around their liege, trying to fend off the last of the Ogre's support units. Those Man-Eaters are still holding. Nope, finally broken. Hopefully Archaon can actually get his foul gauntlets on the throat of that fat Ogre Tyrant. Let's see. We'll get in close. Find a nice angle here. Thankfully, the pile of bodies hides the blinding snow for the most part at this point, so we can appreciate the beautiful cinematics. Other than the lighting issues of the kind of glaring snow and a few units armor, the visuals of this game are absolutely incredible. I mean, the skybox there, the mountains in the background looks really good. And if we look at the health bars, well, Archaon's doing okay. He's definitely taking some damage, though, and the fact that the Ogre characters are just going to be regenerating, I mean, the Tyrant especially, just keeping more and more HP flowing as he's in melee. Man-Eaters also come back, which is a big problem. Going to get a little bit of a surround here, but we've got the Demon Spew available to come back perhaps as well. Swords of Chaos and the Marauder Horsemen managed to catch that Iron Blaster. I think there's literally, 4 Swords of Chaos back there. Significantly larger than the Marauder Horsemen, but I mean, 4 is enough. They have huge armor-piercing weapon damage, obviously, and just in general, great combat stats. Something like the Iron Blaster won't be able to stand against them at all. Archaon, though, certainly will be able to stand as we look away once again for the blinding snow. Ooh, that's rough. Try and find an angle here where it's not quite so bad. Demon Spew come in. The Swords of Chaos run an absolute train in here. One more Spirit Leech. And I think it's actually, yeah, it's on the Tyrant just to finish off his leadership. A terror rout takes hold of the 2 Ogre characters, and it's just the Man-Eaters left. I think there's, 2 Knights of Immolation, 4 Swords of Chaos, and Archaon himself. Such a cool finish, guys. And this, I don't know if it's necessarily the best build, but it's cool. There's a lot of synergy. You know, Archaon, the Doom Knights, and the Swords of Chaos all together. I absolutely love it. Aesthetically, thematically, very cool. So, Now, that being said, cool factor aside, Doom Knights actually, I think, just get fully finished off. 2 of the Swords of Chaos are down, and suddenly things get turned around. Will Archaon be able to finish the job? It's just him against the Tyrant, 2 Man-Eaters, and, of course, the Ogre's leadership is going to give out. So Archaon just barely taking home the win, ends up being super, super close at the end. Man, I've had some absolute barn burners with Heir of Carthage in this early access, so good game to him. Awesome time overall. Archaon carrying 4,000 damage value, 22,000 damage dealt overall. The Doom Knights also pay for themselves 1,800 damage there. Swords of Chaos have a little bit of a rougher time on the ground, but still managed to get some pretty good value back. Demon's Spew also super cost effective. Forsaken seem like they're awesome against Ogres' lower armor units. And this is no anti-large build against Ogres, and we're still able to get the job done. So definitely think this is going to be a matchup that Warriors of Chaos will have a decent time in. I don't know, though. I mean, even just thinking about, like, the Halberd Warriors, right, that you can take as Warriors of Chaos. Iron Blaster, another armor-piercing shooting unit, makes them a little bit tricky to use. I almost prefer, like, a kind of fast attack build like this, just in case they were to go with, like, a bunch of Lead Belchers or something. But Air going with a little bit of a different approach. I actually really like this build. I might make a few fine-tuning kind of tweaks here and there, but overall, Man-Eaters, great weapons, had a great performance. Iron Blaster, unfortunately, didn't quite get enough time to pay for itself, but dual-hand weapon bowls, they were all right. Maybe I'd swap them out for the lower-tier bowls, hard to say. But overall, great game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.